I call this meeting to order. What's our first item?
Dr. Bofi here. Mr. Castile. Mr. Castile is not present. Dr. Davis.
Here.
Ms. Ellis. Ms. Ellis is not present. Mr. Garvey.
Here.
Ms. Holloway.
Here.
Mr. Mallory.
Here.
Mr. Morris.
Here.
Ms. Orange Jones.
Here.
Mr. Rock.
Here.
Ms. Boucher.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. We will now have the invocation. This will be led by Craig Jenkins of Bienville Parish. If you'll stand, please.
Heavenly Father, we pray that you will give us your gift of knowledge, that we might always make the best decisions for the good of all schools and children in Louisiana. We pray that you give us the wisdom to know and to define our tasks, the strength to build and refine our educational goals, and the courage to persevere as necessary. We ask for your direction, that we might make unselfish decisions for those we serve. We pray that all who are assembled here have a safe journey home. We thank you for all your past and future blessings. Amen.
Thank you. And for the pledge, we will have Linda Daggerpont from Marksville High.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I understand Mr. Morris would like personal privilege. Mr. Morris?
Thank you, President Bofi. Members, I wanted to take a moment here to recognize a very special, very dedicated individual in our presence today. That's Ms. Shelley Bell from Ascension Parish. Ms. Bell has taught generations of musicians in Ascension Parish. Actually, 50 years of service in Ascension Parish. During her time in Ascension, she has taught at 3 high schools and 1 middle school. In 2006, Ms. Bell was inducted into Band World Magazine's John Philip Sousa Legion of Honor. Only 8 directors a year receive this honor. Recently, she was recognized as Louisiana's Bandmaster of the Year. In March, Ms. Bell traveled with her students to Indianapolis for a very special performance. Throughout her tenure, Ms. Bell has mentored many student teachers, and the impact of her work continues to resound throughout the United States. Please join me in thanking Ms. Bell for her incredible career and her dedication to her students.
Ms. Bell, would you like to say a couple words?
She's never been speechless. I'm not sure you won't hear me, but thank you for this great honor. I really appreciate it. I want to thank my administrators, all of them which are here today, former administrators, Dr. Matt Monson, Mr. David Alexander, Ms. Carla Francois, and newest superintendent in July. Edith Walker, and I love her to death. So thank you guys for coming. It's been a pleasure working with the kids throughout all these years. My mother was a musician, and we have music in all of our family. My father was on the school board for 30 years in Ascension Parish, so I'm just Ascension Parish all over. So again, thank you for this great honor.
Thank you. Ms. Holloway?
I'd like Ms. Edith Walker to stand so we can see who she is. She's the new one.
Yes! Congratulations on your appointment. Looking forward to working with you. And Mr. Alexander, congratulations.
On your retirement.
Later, we still got things to do.
Okay, got it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Morrison. Thank you for your service. Now that you'll have some time on your hands, we could use some help with some teacher recruitment. Sounds like it runs in your family, and I'm pretty sure you can positively help us recruit people into the teaching profession. Let them know the value of changing kids' lives, and thank you for all the lives you've changed in your work. What is our next agenda item?
Next item is consideration of the recognition of school support employees of the year. Motion to receive.
Thank you, Mr. Mellerin, and a second by Ms. Boucher.
Thank you, Dr. Bowlby. Look, I've said for years, because I believe it to be true, our support workers are the backbones of our schools every single day. Yes, teachers in those classrooms guiding those students to stronger academic outcomes, but they can't do that work and those students can't succeed without the backbone of every school, which is our support workers. And so we are so thankful to have you all here today. We're honored that you would join us, and we know that you mean a lot to your local community, or else you wouldn't be here today. And you do your job well. So thank you for that. And at this time, I ask Stephanie Liu, who works as Director of Food Nutrition, to make a few comments and recognitions.
Well, good morning, Board and Superintendent Bromley. I am Stephanie Liu, the Executive Director of Child Nutrition at the Department of Education. We're so excited to be here today to celebrate and honor Louisiana's 2023 Outstanding School Support Employee honorees. This award has been in place for many years, actually since 1990. However, this is the first year we've elevated the awards process and have been able to honor the finalists here at BESE. Joni Lacey and Dana Doza have worked tirelessly to develop this awards program and allow us to recognize these employees that are so deserving of appreciation. We received over 700 nominations for this award and are so humbled to be able to celebrate our 10 honorees today. The Louisiana Department of Education recognizes that outstanding school support staff are critical to school success. Annually, the department recognizes and celebrates some of the state's most exceptional school support staff through the Outstanding School Support Employee Awards Program. This program provides the opportunity to acknowledge those support employees who have rendered time and talents beyond the call of duty. All nominees must be employees of Louisiana public school systems and serve as teacher aides, paraprofessionals, school bus drivers, food service workers, clerical, custodial, or maintenance personnel, or be any other employee who is not required to hold a teacher's certificate as a condition of employment. All school systems were encouraged to select up to 3 support staff, 1 per division, elementary, middle, and high, as their local level honorees and submit these candidates to the state process. The candidate should display outstanding leadership qualities in inspiring or motivating others. There should be evidence of service or achievement above and beyond what is expected in usual school operation. The individual should exemplify an attitude of professionalism in his or her role as a support to the operation of the school. Honorees, please come to the front when called and stay standing until all finalists have come to the front to take a picture. First, our nominees from elementary. From Central Community School System, Randy Singleton from Tanglewood Elementary, serving as a food service professional. From Lafayette Parish School System, Angela Baptiste from Catherine Drexel Elementary, serving as a paraprofessional. From Morehouse Parish School Board, Tiffany Goldsby from Morehouse Elementary, serving as a clerical professional. Now our middle school honorees. From Bienville Parish School Board, Craig Jenkins from Arcadia School, serving as a paraprofessional. From Jefferson Parish Schools, Angel Walker from Gretna Middle, serving as a paraprofessional. From Shreveport Charter, Rosemary Miles from Linwood Public Charter School, serving as a custodial professional. Next, our high school nominees. From Avoyles Parish School Board, Linda Dagerpong from Marksville High, serving as a paraprofessional. From Iberville Parish, Melvin Walker III from East Iberville High School, serving as a paraprofessional. From St. John the Baptist Parish Public Schools, Donna Scott from West St. John High, serving as a bus driver. And from West Feliciana Parish Schools, Trina Washington from West Feliciana High, serving as a custodial professional. Could we please give a round of applause? And now we're going to announce our overall outstanding school support honoree. This individual embodies the criteria of respect and rapport with all stakeholders, students, families, faculty, and staff. Here's an excerpt from his nominating school district. In the 3 years that I've had the pleasure of working with this individual, I've witnessed him evolve as a paraprofessional in ways that sometimes exceed words. His affable nature, clear insight, and guiding vision have garnered the respect and admiration of stakeholders of our parish and the students at his school. Students feel welcome, involved, and self-assured of their success with him as part of our team. Likewise, staff at all levels feel supported, respected, and confident of the school's future growth as a direct result of his attributes. And lastly, the community has become more enriched by the support he provides to the students and staff. And I believe that he is the exemplar by which all paraprofessionals should strive to model. Please join me in congratulating our overall outstanding school support employee, Mr. Weldon Mark Walker III. Double high five. So congratulations to Mr. Melvin Walker and all of our outstanding school support employee finalists. Thank you all for your dedication, for your caring, for putting our students first, and for being role models. Thank you for all of the hard work you do for our schools. OSCE finalists and guests, at this time, will you please join us for a reception in the Thomas Jefferson Room?
Before you head out, we can have a little talk. So one time something really great happened in my life, and Miss Orange Jones reminded me to stand in my sunshine. And I thought that was just such great advice, and there's been other times in my life where I just had to stop and take in how incredible the moment was. So I'm going to ask you today to do that, right? Because I know when wonderful things happen, there's all these other things that try to distract us. So I want you to stand in your sunshine today and take a lot of pictures and remember this moment. I want you to also know you are representing a whole lot of people who do incredible work in our system. And honestly, I'm not sure I would have made it in the profession had it not been our support workers. So I had a custodian when I was at Glasgow Middle School who saw me struggling, right? And he was like, you know, Dr. Gopi, you only have to make a difference in one life for this to matter. The principal didn't see me struggling like that. My mentor didn't see me struggling, but my custodian knew what I was going through. So you guys see things and you know things that other people do not know. Thank you for the work you do, continuing to serve, building our teachers up and building our students up. So thank you for being here. You're excused to go celebrate.
Shirley, we're talking about all that years of experience. I was looking in the audience to try to figure out who he's talking about.
Yes, thank you so excited. She told me to stand up, but hey, I'm just gonna remind you really quick. I love you. So tell him I said hello. All right, thank you.
What's our next item?
Next item is consideration of the recognition of Mr. Octavian Moore, 2023 Truman Scholarship recipient. Motion to receive.
Ms. Dr. Davis, thank you, and a second by Ms. Orange Jones. Dr. Davis?
Yes, so Tay, could you come to the table for us, please? It is my privilege to introduce this board to Octavian K. Moore. COVID kept this board from meeting Tay in 2020 when he was a senior at Ringgold High School and was named the Louisiana High School Student of the Year. Since that time, Tay has been a real slacker. He has been a member of the National 4-H Council Board of Trustees. He was part of the inaugural John Robert Lewis Scholars at the Faith and Politics Institute. He is a Louisiana Service and Leadership Scholar in the Ogden Honors College at LSU, where he is double majoring in music and political science. And that is where I had the privilege of working with Tay, and I'm supervising his honors thesis, which will use data from our ESSER dashboard to look at spending priorities across school districts and to see how those spending priorities influence student outcomes. But Tay is here today because last week he was named a Truman Scholar, one of the most prestigious awards that an undergraduate can receive in our nation. It is the premier graduate school scholarship for those that are aspiring to public service. I would be remiss if I did not mention Tay's parents at this point, who have embodied public service for him. His mother, Kim Moore, is a paraprofessional in our high schools, and his father, Antoine Moore, served in the Louisiana National Guard, where he did 2 combat tours for our country. So we are grateful to his parents. As part of a Truman application, a scholar is asked to identify a problem facing their community or their state, to develop a potential solution to that problem, and to identify the public body that would be tasked with trying to address this need in the community. And for Tay's policy statement, that's us. And so I thought that it would be great for Tay to be able to do something that most Truman scholars are not able to do, which is to actually present their policy statement to this board. So, Tay, take it away.
Well, thank you so much for that wonderful introduction, Dr. Davis. And thank you all for the opportunity to be here today. Before I start, I'd just like to say thank you, a huge thank you to all the faculty and staff, support staff we honor today, that are watching online at my high school right now and are supporting me. So thank you all for that, and especially my great-grandmother too. When I, as a dual enrollment student in high school, I attended high school at Ringgold High School, but we did dual enrollment through Bossier Parish Community College, which was an hour commute. My great-grandmother drove me every day to be able to attend classes at Bossier Parish Community College. So I stand here on the shoulders of giants. Thank them for that. But I'll get started with my policy proposal now. Rural America is plagued with a myriad of disparities, from poverty, population decline, health crises, and deteriorating infrastructure, yet lies disconnected from policy solutions. A portrait of Louisiana, which is a research survey conducted by Measure of America, reveals that Louisiana ranks below the national average Human Developmental Index rating, which measures well-being and access to opportunity. The 10 lowest HDI scoring parishes all consist of small towns and rural areas here in Louisiana. And the lowest, which is East Carroll Parish, is also home to the second highest non-metro county child poverty rate at 66.4% in the nation. One major cause of our state's low human development scores is youth disconnection, which we have the 4th highest rate in the nation of young people between the ages of 16 and 24 who are not in school and not working. Youth in rural areas, especially minorities in the Deep South, are not only more likely to live below the poverty line, but due to stagnant local employment opportunities and struggling school systems, are also less likely to experience upward mobility. Encompassing approximately 50% of our state school districts, the rural K-12 school systems offers a premier opportunity to catalyze the vitality of these communities. And more than ever before, our state is in need of rural-conscious education policies that maximize the impact of current investments in rural communities. My proposed solution is to establish service learning as a formal course elective for grades 6 through 8 and require 1 unit of service learning for high school graduation. I propose that the unit be fulfilled by a specific school-created service learning course or incorporating service learning into an existing subject, such as English, mathematics, or social studies, that is designed as fulfilling that requirement. Support can be sought from the LSU Ag Center, consisting of offices in all 64 parishes, with extension agents trained to guide youth and adults in partnership and grant writing to create community-specific projects. And while 4-H is available and co-curricular throughout the state, schools could determine their preferred youth development organization partner. Your board's current efforts to link school systems with economic and community development sadly falls a bit short. For example, the community service diploma endorsement was awarded to fewer than 300 of the over 40,000 Louisiana high school graduates in 2022. Unlike sporadic community service activities, service learning is a form of experiential learning where students identify a critical local issue, develop long-term solutions that align with their curricular learning objectives, work alongside community partners to address the need, and then reflect on the experience. And studies show that service learning increases attendance, academic performance, civic engagement, career development, and social skills among students, especially those from low-income and marginalized areas. And I'm a prime testament of that. Thereby, incorporating service learning into existing pedagogical methods could be a step towards human developmental equity in our state's most vulnerable areas. Now, that's not to say that this policy proposal that does not come without major obstacles or implementation challenges. In 2017, a survey conducted by the Louisiana Department of Education showed that 61% of our teachers in the most economically disadvantaged rural communities identified that they lack adequate preparation, which was 10% higher than their urban counterparts. Implementing this policy could add a burden to the already overwhelmed educators. And so this policy will only be most effective when service learning framework is incorporated into the existing educator preparation pathways and degrees offered through the Louisiana Department of Education and our state's higher education institutions. Service learning educational standards, rubrics, and planning worksheets have already been developed by the LSU Ag Center, though, so that expedites your student standards professional review process. And additionally, the Louisiana 4-H School Enrichment Program offers multiple research-based and hands-on activities that incorporate existing Louisiana Department of Education K-12 standards. One of the jewels of my time at Ringgold and growing up and attending high school in a rural high school in Northwest Louisiana was Club Day, which was the opportunity for us to not only get together and plan for our projects where we would compete in competitions, but also prepare for community service activities and implement those in our community. Recently, though, especially since COVID-19, in order for our school to focus on test scores, that Club Day, the time allocated for Club Day was drastically decreased to just a sole lunch period. So there's also a strong possibility that some individuals will not support this bill based on the belief that such activities detract from educational time. However, I encourage you, the BESE members, to consider incorporating service learning into our framework, or in the words of one of my personal heroes, Dr. Martin Luther King, we must remember that intelligence alone is not enough. The complete education gives one not only power of concentration, but worthy objectives upon which to concentrate. The function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education. Thank you once again for the opportunity to present this policy proposal to you, and I'm open to any questions that your body might have.
Yes, Mr. Mallory.
Thank you for making Northwest Louisiana proud. Yeah, at this point, that's the whole state. Thank you.
I'd like to know more about your own experiences with service learning.
Sure thing. When I was in high school, I became active in our Healthy Communities initiative, which is offered through the LSU Ag Center. As a junior in high school, we hosted our first Relay for Life event, and were able to raise $10,000 for over $10,000 for the American Cancer Society. And that was a great opportunity for me to realize that the skills that I was learning in my classes, and especially at that time, health education classes, and at that time I still call it home economics, although I don't believe it's probably called family consumer sciences. And the basis of healthy living, how those tenets that we're learning in the classroom, we can begin to implement those even as young people and as students. And I think it's also safe for us to remember, I think it's also important for us to remember, as I've studied the history of the civil rights movement, a major factor, a major portion of those pioneers were young people who were unashamed and stood. And now we stand on the shoulders of those individuals. And they realized that what the skills that they learned in the classroom were not just to prepare them to excel on some standardized test. I worry sometimes, when we consider education, we're just preparing them to take a test, but life's so much greater than a test on paper. Life is about a test of life and how you treat other people. And those skills of character need to be identified and incorporated into the curriculum. Another opportunity that we had in high school, our home economics class, they teach you about taking care of the home, such as washing laundry. And every Friday, the students, we would go around and collect the jackets of students who came from households that did not have running water or hot water. We'd wash their jacket. We reflect on that process, and understand that even though some of my counterparts will eventually end up taking careers in corporate America, they will still have this passion for public service that transcends throughout any career trajectory that they take. And so those are two examples. Also, it could be as simple as an English class partnering with the local council on aging and using their English skills to produce a newsletter for the local elderly population, or a social studies class incorporating an oral history requirement, as we've seen in some states, such as Arkansas, which allows young people to actually sit beside and begin to create relationships with elderly members in the community, learn the history so we don't repeat those mistakes of the past. But it also encourages the notion that every school in Louisiana is encompassed of our kids. One of the detriments, sadly, of having so many different school types, which I'm not saying that I promote school choice or don't promote school choice, but one of the drawbacks to that is it creates this paradigm of our youth versus other people's young people, versus other people's kids. And service learning, which brings together members from all socioeconomic backgrounds and demographics, really hones in on the notion that the world is better together, and it takes all of us to implement positive change in society. I hope that answers your question.
It does, I really appreciate that. I am curious about were you a member of 4-H? Is that really, was that your entry point, and at what age did you get involved?
It was, so actually when I was in 4th grade, 4-H was the only club at my elementary school. I stayed active through the program throughout high school, eventually became the state 4-H president and served on some national capacities. And then most recently, I was the youngest member voted to the National 4-H Council Board of Trustees.
So this is incredible. Yes, Ms. Orange Jones? Press the button. Oh, okay, it's just not lighting up.
First of all, I don't even know where to start. You are so impressive. Where are your people? Are they here today? Or do you have anybody? I just want to give a round of applause. Are they here? Who are you here?
Well, I tell you, Miss Cindy Seegers, who is our Honors College Career Development Specialist, she was able to come with me today. And actually, my school superintendent, Mr. Weisinger from Beagle Parish, and my former high school principal, Mr. Shanley, are here. Yes, and the rest of my family, my dad works at California, so he's actually in Oklahoma, so he's watching me actually. And my mom is a professional too, so she's watching in her classroom today.
Way to go, Mom.
Yes.
Go, Mom. Just a quick, tell us a little bit, I know we have about service goal. You've convinced us all this, and you already convinced, and you further convinced us that this matters. But what about, what are your plans? What are you doing with your
Yes,
plans?
so currently I'm considering, well, I'll actually mention this last point on the service notion. This is not just applicable to high school or elementary students as well. I'm taking Dr. Davis's Politics and Poverty course this semester, and I approached her and asked if I could add a service learning component. And so this semester I've also had the opportunity to spend some time most weeks volunteering at St. Vincent de Paul Homeless Shelter. And so the policy that we're discussing in class is you have a different feeling when you're examining it once you actually attend the homeless shelter. And one of the biggest things that I've gained from that experience is just understanding how I can go there any Tuesday and serve lunch, and I'll have more individuals tell me how blessed they are and how, just privileged they are to simply be alive. And these are individuals who are working a full-time job in America, yet do not have the resources. It's not that they don't want to work, just the system that we've created has created jobs for them where they're working long hours every day, yet still do not have enough money to pay for food or housing. And so thank you, Dr. Davis, for allowing me the opportunity to serve there at St. Vincent de Paul and incorporating that into our class, which I think has completely transformed understanding public policy when it relates to the marginalized.
Is that your plan? Or do you want to go into public policy?
I do plan on going into public policy. So my plan at the moment is to pursue a combined concurrent degree in public policy and divinity. As we know, churches and religious organizations are a major part of the backbone of rural communities. The only thing they come behind is Dollar Generals, So, and through faith communities, we have, I believe, a moral obligation, which not just doesn't stand up for policy issues, but what is morally correct. And I'd like to see more of our faith and religious organizations begin to take that stand. And so that's the trajectory I would like to take. Who knows, I might eventually, get involved in politics. But in Brian Stevenson's book, Just Mercy, he talks about this idea of proximity. And how his grandmother told him, which he does criminal reform work, his grandmother told him, if you really want to have success as a lawyer, whichever issue you're dealing with, you need to get close to it. You need to get close to those people and create relationships with them. So no matter, what end goal I eventually have, I hope that that I stay true to this this passion for service and staying close to even the most underserved and underlooked in society.
I'm sure you will, you make us proud. Thank you.
And staying in Louisiana.
Yes, that is the plan, to return to Louisiana.
So a couple of things. I had a conversation with a fellow educator this week who was discouraged.
Yes.
And this person's not typically discouraged, and I was discouraged too. And he said, you know, I'm really discouraged. I said, well, I get to MC the Student of the Year ceremony this week. And so, although I'm discouraged, I know that I get so much encouragement for that, right? Like I always get so much hope. And I just want to thank Dr. Davis because we didn't get a chance to meet you in 2020, but we needed to meet you. And I'm so glad to have this opportunity to meet you, and we'll offer to brainstorm with you offline about steps you might take relative to service learning. So that's something I appreciate you for encouraging me, right? Two, I would say is I agree. Service learning really matters. Proximity really matters. And I had the opportunity to do a fishing tournament. We called it a fishing rodeo. And we raised money for the Alzheimer's Association. And while I have several degrees, 4 I think, I don't know that I learned as much as I did doing that activity, right? Like that activity of advertising and having a purpose and those kinds of things. And what was powerful about it is people would always thank me for the opportunity to serve others because they got so much from that. And so in my role as a principal, I talk to my students about having a good life, right? Like I want to help them get credentials and get the skills they need to have a good life. But I've recently made a shift, I think similar to the things that you're talking about, away from the good life piece to a legacy giving life, right? Like how do we all live lives that are creating legacies for other people? And so I know you're going to live and are already living a legacy giving life, and I just want to thank you for that. And I just want to beg you to continue to live in Louisiana and serve in Louisiana.
May I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, in your plan, would the students have to have a prerequisition as far as in their academics before getting involved in the service learning? Or do you think the service learning will help improve if it's a felon student?
Yes, I believe that they do not need a prerequisite to be able to serve your community. You don't need an advanced degree. You just have to have a heart and a passion after serving other people. And numerous studies that I have a list of studies here if you'd like to look at some of them, that show that students who are active in these programs perform better in their academics, especially those who are from marginalized communities. So our lowest performing students begin to perform better when there's a practical aspect added to their education. The truth of the matter is, sometimes, our standardized tests, I've seen some of the practice exams over winter break, and the closest thing that I could compare one of them to was a 1940s literacy exam. And I don't say that jokingly, but I worry sometimes that we promote examinations that were designed for some students to fail. However, through serving our community, students realize alternative avenues. And while they may not have a success through the highest academic careers, they can have a success in making a difference in their community.
I really appreciate it. Board members, do any of you have any other questions or comments? I do. Okay, Mr. Morris.
Dr. Davis, I don't know what your grading scale is. I'm sorry for the other people in the class.
Dr. Buffy, speaking of brainstorming, Dr. Davis, you serve on the Civic Education Commission. It may be a great idea to have him speak before that commission and maybe sponsor a bill or something like that. Just a thought, brainstorming.
That's a great idea. Thank you for that. I'll make a note of that. And thank you, Tay. It's a privilege to have you in my class, and thank you for coming today to talk with us.
Thank you.
Mr. Rock.
You're awesome. It was just goes your way. I'm so proud of you. From Rico, Louisiana. Dr. Davis, may I give him his grade already in your class? His grade would be an 8.
Thank you all for the opportunity.
congratulations. I imagine that people would like to visit with you after, if you have the time to stay around. I'm sure you have a full schedule with all the goals you have in mind, but if you can stay around, I'm sure there's some people who might want to chat. Ms. Holloway?
I just can't help but say how impressed I am, and knowing how we as board members are very involved in service work, including myself. And I see you as someone out there servicing internationally. And don't know if you ever had thoughts like that, but being a part of America, our great country. I want you to look into the Rotary International. Have you?
Yes. That's coincidental that you say that. We've actually had some honor students who recently that received scholarships from Rotary.
Absolutely. All expense paid 1 year to any country of your choice. And I am a Rotarian, have traveled and been part of an international group overseas, and I highly recommend you looking into something of that sort, because you look like a perfect person, and there's your person to help you with that. Great, we can talk later.
And I appreciate that, Ms. Sandy. And I will say this last thing. I do want to sincerely thank you all for your support of the dual enrollment program. You mentioned international traveling. My first experience overseas was through dual enrollment as a piano student at Bossier Parish Community College. So shout out to them too, thank you for those opportunities that they gave me. As a piano student, the professor invited me for a 10-day study abroad trip that she was leading with college students, and we went along with Grambling to Venice, Florence, and Rome. That was my first time overseas, but I would not have had that experience had it not been for the implementation of the dual enrollment program.
Absolutely, and you can study policy abroad and bring it back. Your studies. Thank you. Good luck.
I will say that Hank is going to have to walk across the street so that LSU can brag on him at the Capitol. But if any of you afterwards would like to get in touch with him, I'm happy to share his contact info with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
you. Have a great day.
What's our next agenda item?
Next item is item 3.1, approval of the agenda. Motion to approve.
Mr. Rock? Ms. Holloway, thank you. Are there any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. What's our next item?
Next item, approval of the minutes from March 8th, 2023. Motion to approve.
Ms. Boucher? And a second by Mr. Rock. Is there any objection? Hearing none, motion passes. What's our next item?
Approval of the minutes from April 5th, 2023, special call meeting. Motion to approve.
Mr. Rock, thank you. I need a second. Ms. Boucher, thank you. Is there any objection? Hearing none, motion passes. What's our next item?
Next item is report by the State Superintendent of Education.
We need a motion? No? Okay, go ahead.
Briefly, just wanted to call out that we have 24 finalists for Student of the Year that are going to be recognized tonight at the State Capitol Museum, Capitol Park Museum, rather. Mr. Foltz from our team will be leading the LDOE effort, and Dr. Bofi will be the ceremony. So that'll be a great time. Want to let everyone know that we did release our family toolkit for summer support for math and literacy. It's really fantastic, and I'll make sure that everyone on the board gets a copy of that so that you can share it with your constituency. And then finally, just want to acknowledge our Teacher Leader Summit for the summer has sold out, which is really exciting. We're going to have a great event, and then that will follow up with our second ever Early Childhood Education Summit. So look forward to seeing some of you there at that event. Thank you, Dr. Wilson.
Thank you. And then our next item is reports from BESE members. BESE members, I'll start by asking you if possible to hold June 12th in your schedule. We are going to try to make this our retreat day instead of holding that in August. As we know, August is a busy time and will be a especially busy time for people. And then other reports from BESE members. Mr. Garvey? No? Mr. Rock?
Not a report, Madam President, but I would just like to request on, Shannon, on the agenda for June, I'd like to recognize, we have already been on and recognize the winners on this coming Friday in Lafayette. We're gonna announce the 3 winners of the Catholic schools in Louisiana, first, 5th, 8th, and 12th. And I'd like to present those kids at the June meeting.
Yes, Mr. Castillo?
I continue to serve on the judges in the classroom task force that's being led by Chief Justice John Reamer with the Louisiana Supreme Court. They have worked the last couple of years in making personal presentations to K-12 students throughout the state of Louisiana. Done a fantastic job. Ms. Holloway, when you were president, you appointed me to that task force. It's a treat to watch the judges give back. They wanted me to remind everyone that May 1st is Law Day and the month of May is Law Month. So please stay tuned for our judge in the classroom near you.
All right, thank you. Any other board members? Right, what's our next item?
Next item is Academic Goals and Instructional Improvement Committee actions. Is that Dr. Davis?
Yes, but President, do you still want me to do it?
Correct.
On behalf of the Academic Goals and Instructional Improvement Committee, I move to approve motions 1 through 23, noting that motions 18 and 20 are notices of intent, and motions 19 and 21 are declarations of emergency.
Can we get a second?
I second.
Thank you. So we have a motion and a second, and then we have a comment card on 7-1 from Mr. Fred Carr.
Good morning, everyone. Appreciate the opportunity to be here. My comments are okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone, again. Before I get started, I just want to make one quick comment about Mr. Moore and his comments. I'd just like to say, obviously, I don't vote and decide whether or not that policy will be adopted, but if I was able to, I would raise my hand and say yes. I was most impressed, and everything that he was saying sort of encompasses our situation in Union Parish because we are a rural community. Union Parish sits east and north of Denver Parish, Wingo, in that area. So that's where we're from. We were here last month. We're here again. Simply put, we need help. And around academic goals, our district does have a master plan, or working on a master plan. We do not see a sense of urgency, especially when you consider the letter grades of our school. So anything around goals, and I don't know what all's coming out of that committee, Dr. Davis, but whatever's there that can help our area, that's basically why we're here. We need help. We worked with local people. We, again, do not see this sense of urgency to move us forward, but just like some of the things that Mr. Moore is talking about, there are challenges there. Most of Louisiana is rural, so this is a big thing, a big problem in our area. Another area of concern that goes along with that is the process used to identify struggling students early on in their academic career so that they get the proper help early on so they can have success as a student. This is a big struggle, and we also feel that that is one of the leading causes of some of the letter grades at the end of the day that you see in our school district. Unless those kids are ready, we're going to continue to be at that lower level, and they are not going to have the opportunity to get where they need to get to be successful members of this society. Statistics say, I've not read this has been communicated to me several times, that usually struggling kids by 3rd grade, 4th grade, the long-term outlook for those students is somewhat bleak to say the least. And a lot of times those are the students that end up incarcerated, they drop out of school, and all these other negative things that end up in their lives. And no one deserves that. No one deserves that. So when you hear that, that tells me that it's even more important that we put emphasis around identifying students and getting them the help that they need early on. Funding, especially around Title I, it needs to be looked at. We all know that Title I is there for communities like ours, and we're just not always sure that those funds are being used in the classroom as opposed to administrative costs. Those are some of our big concerns there. So again, thank you for the time, and all of these things have direct impact on student success. Thank you again.
Dr. Brumley?
Yeah, I just wanted to let the board know and let these concerned citizens know that after our last meeting, I did confirm with our team that we are pushing in additional on-site school support team members. You may remember Ms. Morgan, who presented last month around helping support some of our most struggling schools. So we do have a commitment there. Also, the other thing I would like to mention, some of our larger SEA investment has been working with school systems to build academic strategic plans, and Union has actually brought Union into that process moving forward, so that's really good. And I just want to tell you how spot on you are around foundational learning and early literacy, and so please know that next year in the state of Louisiana, in grades K through 3, there will be 3 literacy screeners given per year, and notification to parent and then intervention for the kid. So that'll be the first time in our state's history where that's been uniform across the entire state. So we think that will help with literacy, and then we've got to move that strategy to math too. So I'm going to ask someone on our team, maybe Mr. Foltz, if you don't mind, just visiting with them after the meeting, collecting some information. But I wanted to assure you that we did reach out and make sure some of these things are moving forward. And then board, yesterday, you did approve over $300,000 in additional funds to Union as part of a competitive process, so they would get some additional funds. So I just want to make everyone aware of that.
Well, we certainly appreciate that. We need it. And thank you for everything that you do, all of you.
Thank you.
One other thing, if I could. I just want to say, these are the rest of our team members here that traveled down today and had a good ride down, and we're committed.
Thank you. So I think one of you had a question for Mr. Moore when he was speaking, and so we do need to get that on record in terms of the public comment card. So if you could see the staff so that I could go back and get all that fixed a little later, I would appreciate it. Thank you. All right.
Madam Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I'd like to ask the staff to note that I'm voting against item, I think it's 22, which was 8.1 on our agenda yesterday, which was titled Consideration of an Update Report Regarding Accountability and Graduation Requirements in the College.
Got it?
Madam Chairman, also wanted to oppose item number 22, but I want to be clear that I do support bullet number 1 to receive the report and bullet number 2 to immediately establish the task force. But I don't support the waiver provision in the proposed appeals process. Also, I oppose motion number 17, which was the attendance item. Also wanted to share with members why I oppose that item. 2.5 years ago, I approached Superintendent Brumley with the fact that I found that the truancy rate in UPR was 35%. I asked the superintendent what was the state average for truancy. I asked for 5 years of data pre-COVID. I got those 5 years of data and found out that the state average was 35%. In 2017, it was 48%. My 2 questions to the superintendent were, number 1, how is this even possible? Number 2, how is it possible and nobody's talking about it? The superintendent followed up and did hire and filled the position, which to my understanding had been vacant for 10 years. So based on the information provided to me, the only assumption I can give is that the state hasn't been monitoring truancy for 10 years. Fortunately, we do have someone very capable in that position now, and I'm really excited about that hire. Also, the superintendent formed a task force to address this concern. The task force, just a second.
task force, as most members I'm sure don't fully appreciate, was represented by the DCFS, the juvenile judges, myself as a BESE member, current CWAs, member of the legislature, Louisiana PTA, members of FINS, communities and schools, LDH, EBR District Attorney's Office, School Counselor Association, Louisiana School Counselor Association, Louisiana Public Charter Schools Association, and PEL. That task force unanimously recommended that we raise the awareness of truancy in our state by requiring real-time reporting of truancy, to raise the awareness of truancy in our state, which had obviously been neglected for at least 10 years. Purpose so that we can identify the problems and find the solutions. I think that's the appropriate path forward, and not continually deferring the item until we can change the definition. Also wanted to add that in addition to the information I shared yesterday, that the latest data available from the EBR District Attorney's Office, there were 97 homicides in EBR that year. 90% of the victims and the assailants did not finish the 9th grade. In addition to that, Louisiana has experienced the highest per capita murder rate among all U.S. states for the 32nd consecutive year.
Thank you.
Madam President?
Yes.
I'd also like to vote no on agenda item, it was 8.1, which was number 0.2.
Okay, opposition noted. Thank you. Yes.
I'd like to, sorry, I'd like to oppose 8.122, item 22, please.
All right, got it. Mr. Garvey?
Yes, I'd like to join Mr. Morrison opposing item 17, the truancy issue.
Got it. All right, any other opposition? Hearing none, motion passes. What's our next item?
Next item, 7.2, Administration and Finance Committee. Ms. Bochet? Oh,
Mr. Carter?
yes, Mr. Barton.
On behalf of the administration
Oh, I'm
and
sorry.
finance committee,
I'm so sorry.
I move to approve motions 1 through 34.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Castillo. Recusals, I see Ms. Bochet, Mr. Rock. I also have a recusal, Dr. Davis. Are there any other recusals? Okay. Are there any other comments? All right. Hearing none, motion passes. What's our next item?
Next item, 7.3, Educator Effectiveness Committee. Mr. Holloway.
On behalf of the Educator Effectiveness Committee, I move to approve motions 1 through 14, noting that motion 7 is a notice of intent.
And we need a second. Thank you. Got it, Mr. Rock. Dr. Davis?
Under this committee, I'd just like to bring to our attention that we have a matter we should discuss in June surrounding special education. We increased the number of hours that were required for part of that certification and their training, but we did not grandfather in individuals that were currently pursuing that certification, and it's my understanding that it's creating issues for them right now in the certification process.
All right. Looks like Dr. Brumley made a note of that. Thank you. Anything else, members? Yes, Ms. Bochet.
I just want to recuse from motion 4.
Okay, got it? Oh, yes. That makes sense. All right, any other comments? Any opposition? Hearing none, motion passes. What's our next item?
Next item, 7.4, School Innovation and Turnaround Committee. Mr. Morris.
On behalf of the School Innovation and Turnaround Committee, I move to approve motions 1 through 5.
All right, second by Dr. Davis. Any opposition? Hearing none, motion passes. I see that that's the last item on the agenda, so we will go ahead and adjourn. Have a great day.
Yes. Lunch should be here.